LibreOffice. As we all know, Microsoft Office is not free. It costs you around $100 a year just to use Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. And actually, that money could go toward other subscriptions you genuinely enjoy instead. So if you're just someone who occasionally types a document or make a presentation, paying that much is definitely a waste of money. That's why we have LibreOffice. It has Writer for documents similar to Word, and then Impress for presentations like PowerPoint and Calc for spreadsheets just like Excel, and all of them are free and works completely offline. Also, LibreOffice is easy to use since the user interface is similar to Microsoft Office. Not only that, LibreOffice is also compatible with formats like DocX, XLX, and PPTX. This means if someone sends you a Word document or an Excel file, you can open it using LibreOffice and edit it like usual. However, the compatibility is not always perfect. So if you open a file that uses specific fonts or styles, or when you copy-paste text from a certain website, the formatting can sometimes change or even completely break inside LibreOffice. But this rarely happens, so it's good most of the time. VLC. VLC is a free media player that can play almost every video format that exists, and it is one of the most downloaded free apps in the world. It exists because the default media players on your computer can only play common formats like MP4. So if you have a video with MKV or FLV format, the media player can't play the video. In fact, the default video player can't even play one of my old videos because it doesn't support the format. This is why people prefer VLC, since it can play all kinds of videos. Another great thing is VLC supports subtitles in multiple languages, and if a movie comes with multiple language, VLC lets you switch between them instantly from the audio menu. DaVinci Resolve. DaVinci Resolve is a free professional video editing software used by YouTubers, filmmakers, and professional video editors. And it is widely regarded as the better video editor compared to Adobe Premiere Pro. So just to let you know, Premiere Pro costs around $23 every single month. That's almost double the price of a Spotify subscription just to edit videos. So of course, more people these days switch to DaVinci since it's free. But not only because it's free, DaVinci is also a great option because of its color grading tool. So color grading is the process of adjusting the colors of your footage to make it look more cinematic. And since DaVinci's color grading tools are so advanced, they're actually used in many Oscar-nominated movies. On top of that, DaVinci also has a built-in audio editor called Fairlight, which is basically like Adobe Audition, and a built-in visual effects tool called Fusion, which covers what Adobe After Effects does. This means you don't have to pay for each one separately because DaVinci gives you all three in one. However, because of all those advanced features, DaVinci Resolve is also heavy to run smoothly. So if your computer has entry-level specs, you will likely experience many lags while editing. GIMP. GIMP is a free photo editing software that's widely used by photographers, designers, and content creators. And just like DaVinci Resolve is compared to Adobe Premiere Pro, GIMP is widely regarded as the best alternative to Adobe Photoshop. That's because Photoshop also costs around $23 every single month. And this is a lot of money just to edit some images, especially since what people really need is removing backgrounds and then adjusting colors and lighting, or something like retouching skin in portraits and layering multiple images together, and GIMP already covers all of them. However, if we talk about features and quality, GIMP is still weaker compared to Photoshop. For example, GIMP doesn't have smart objects like in Photoshop, which means if you resize an image and then try to scale it back up, the image becomes blurry. And when it comes to erasing an object, the results in Photoshop looks natural because there is no trace of the object. But with GIMP, the image can look unnatural due to the distorted image after we erase the object. So yeah, for basic photo editing or learning, GIMP is more than enough. But for professional work, Photoshop is still the best choice. OBS Studio. OBS is a free screen recording and live streaming app that is widely used by gamers, streamers, and content creators in general. And unlike GIMP or DaVinci Resolve that can be regarded as an alternative to paid software, OBS is so good in advance that it becomes the #1 industry standard for streaming. What makes OBS really good is its versatile scene system. So a scene is basically a layout where you can combine multiple things at the same time on your screen. For example, if you're gaming, you can have one scene that shows your gameplay with your face on camera. camera. And when you just want to chat with your viewers without showing the game, you can instantly switch to another scene that only shows you in the live chat. Or if you want to do a presentation, you can have a scene that shows your slides on one side and your face on the other side. But because OBS is so versatile, it is not easy to use. When you open it for the first time, setting everything up correctly like your audio, your scenes, and your stream settings will take a lot of time and research. Proton VPN. Proton VPN is an app that's widely used by people who want to keep their internet activity secure. There are many free VPNs out there, but what makes Proton different from them is that most free VPNs out there actually make money by collecting your browsing data and quietly selling it to advertiser companies, which completely defeats the purpose of using a VPN in the first place. But Proton doesn't do any of that. It doesn't spy on or store anything you do, and they are also very trustworthy because this VPN is made by a Swiss company, so it's protected by one of the strongest privacy laws in the world. But as a side note, Proton VPN is actually freemium. So unlike the other apps we mentioned before that are completely free, Proton VPN basic version is free, but it also offers premium tier for faster speeds and more server locations, which of course requires payment. That said, the free version is still great for basic privacy protection in your daily browsing. Audacity. Audacity is a free audio recording and editing app, and it's also one of the most used audio software in the world. Just like DaVinci Resolve and GIMP, it exists as a free alternative to Adobe Audition. As a free tool, Audacity has an amazing feature like noise removal. When you record audio, background noise like fan sounds or room echo always gets picked up by the microphone. Audacity can analyze that background noise and remove it from the entire recording automatically, which makes your audio sound significantly cleaner. Also, Audacity supports multi-track editing. So if you're recording several people, you can combine all tracks on top of each other, then flexibly adjust volume or add effects to each one individually and export them as one clean final file. Blender. Blender is a powerful and free 3D creation software used for modeling, animation, and visual effects. Now, just to be clear though, the undisputed industry standard 3D software is still Autodesk Maya. It's the professional-grade tool used by world-class animation studios in Hollywood productions. But Maya costs so much every month that even Adobe prices feel so cheap. That's why outside of those big studios, almost everyone uses Blender since it's free and open source. But despite being free, Blender is very incredible. You can build fully detailed 3D objects and environments, animate characters with realistic movement, and simulate things like fire, smoke, and many more. In fact, some big productions like Spider-Man 2 and The Chronicles of Narnia actually use Blender for their visual effects. But because of all these capabilities, Blender is the hardest software to learn on this list. It has tons of features, and the interface is very different from most apps, so it usually takes months or even years to actually master it. Bitwarden. Bitwarden is a free password manager used to keep accounts safe and secure. So usually most people reuse the same password across multiple accounts or use weak passwords like simple words and numbers because they just can't remember complicated ones. However, these habits are quite risky. If one of your accounts gets hacked, every other account that uses the same or similar password becomes vulnerable as well. That's why Bitwarden exists. It stores all your passwords in one secure place, and you only need to remember one single master password to access all of them. And once you save your passwords inside Bitwarden, it automatically fills them in whenever you visit a login page. It also has a built-in password generator that creates strong random passwords so that it's harder to hack. And what also makes Bitwarden stand out from alternatives like Google's Password Manager is that Google's Password Manager works best if you stay within Chrome and Android system. But Bitwarden works the same way whether you are on Chrome, Windows, Apple's ecosystem, and many more. MSI Afterburner. MSI Afterburner is a performance monitoring tool that's used by PC gamers to track their computer's performance. So while you're playing a game, this program can show your FPS, GPU, and CPU temperature and RAM consumption in real time. And this is important because you can immediately tell if something is wrong, whether your FPS suddenly drops or your GPU temperature gets dangerously high. Basically, it gives you hints that maybe you have too much dust buildup or that your thermal paste needs to be replaced immediately. Another great thing is, MSI Afterburner also lets you control your GPU fan speed manually, so you can always keep temperatures under control instead of letting your PC decide that for you. And even though the name says MSI, it actually works on any computer regardless of the brand. WinRAR. WinRAR is a free file compression tool that is widely used by almost everyone who downloads files from the internet. Sometimes a file we download is in a compressed format, and Windows actually has a built-in tool to open it, but it only supports format like zip. So when a file you download is in other formats like RAR, Windows simply cannot open those. That's why we use WinRAR to open the file. But not only opening, WinRAR is also great at compressing files. For example, a 100 megabyte file compressed with the default zip format ends up at 89 megabytes, but the same file compressed with WinRAR goes down to around 79 megabytes. This is nice when you have a lot of big files and you want to save your storage. Anyway, just to inform you, this program technically has a 40-day trial period, but once it expires, nothing actually gets locked. It just shows a small pop-up asking you to buy a license, which you can simply close and keep using it for free. This has been going on for decades, and the developers are actually fine with it. In fact, the WinRAR trial pop-up has become such a famous internet meme that most people just laugh it off and made this app even more famous. Malwarebytes. Malwarebytes is a freemium malware scanning tool that's used for stronger protection on your computer. So while Windows already has Windows Defender to handle common viruses, things like adware, spyware, or Trojans can disguise themselves as normal software and often slip right past Defender without any warning. That's why when your computer starts running slow, acting strange, or showing random ads, you simply open Malwarebytes, run a scan, and it will find and remove what Windows Defender missed. And just to inform you, when you first install Malwarebytes, it gives you a 14-day trial of the premium version, which includes real-time background protection. But after those 14 days, it goes back to the free version where you just run scans manually whenever you need it. But honestly, you don't really need Malwarebytes, especially if you understand how computer viruses work and have basic knowledge about technology. So yeah, maybe you want to watch my other videos too. Anyway, see you all in the next episode.